Okay, I think I'm streaming. Let's see. Yeah, I see it there. Looks good. Let me just test some stuff out. Oh wow, fair amount of delay right there, but it's fine. Okay, so this is a little test stream, and yeah, I'm planning to do a bunch of these, a bunch of live streams. We'll see. We'll see how things go. But today I want to do some figure drawing, right? I I would do a bit of standard figure drawing, but I don't have images ready right now, and I want to focus on this right now. Guessing the stream can see that. So I want to focus on proportions first and foremost, um, since that's an important thing in figure drawing. I feel like I should go over that. Yeah, this is just kind of like if anyone watches this live, they can follow along if they want. And if anyone watches this afterwards, if anyone watches the recording, they can also follow along, I guess. So, let's see. That the body is, I mean, obviously it varies, but we're gonna go with the standard of 8 heads high. So, this is just, I don't know. This is the site that I found this stuff on. So, yeah, it seems reliable. So we'll get a head there. Okay, and then it's like one, two. Yeah, this is rough. I'll make it precise. Why not? Make it accurate, right? That's not right. Oh, I forgot the shortcuts. V, V. Okay. Okay. Nope. Okay, I'm not making this accurate. Never mind. Never mind. Changed my mind. Just gonna try to get this roughly. Okay, you know, get rid of the head. We don't need the head right now. We just need the lines. We just need the lines. The head's throwing me off. Oh God. Let me zoom out a bit. Why am I so zoomed in? What am I doing right now? What am I doing? Sorry, it's my first time, guys. It's my first time. You got three there. One, two, three, four, five, six, oh, seven. Made this too large. Probably should have had this set up beforehand, but whatever. Too much setup, man. Too many setup problems. And then 8, I think. Roughly, we'll we'll say that's 8 equal lengths. Okay, so there's the head. Yay! Yep, boom. Step 2, the pelvis. Between marks 3 and 4, they have them numbered here. The hip joint's sitting on 4. So, wait, which one's... Okay, 1 is the bottom one. Okay, yeah. 1, 2, 3, and 4. That's where they have the pelvis, and then, boom, the hip joints. What am I drawing? I'm drawing people, doing some figure drawing. Step 2, the pelvis. Step 3, legs and knees. So that goes from 4 to 6. That's where the knee joint is. Right, and then obviously go down to the bottom. That's the bottom of the legs. And then I'm assuming those are just the feet. When the leg is stretched out, the knee joint is replaced, nope, is placed on a straight line with the hip and ankle. But this straight line is virtual. To complete the leg, connect the hip joint to the inside of the kneecap. And then again the outside of the knee to the inside of the ankle. This is simplified but an accurate representation of the actual bone structure, and it helps capture the natural look of the human leg. Okay. Um, yeah, that's some okay advice, but kind of, mm, it depends. It depends. It's not necessary because you can just kind of build up those shapes in the later stages. Right now, I'm just focusing on proportions. Right, step 4, rib cage. It's an oval that starts halfway between 1 and 2, down to mark 3. Okay, I believe the shoulders would be in line there between 1 and 2. Don't quote me on that. So down to 3. It's best to chop off its lower part as shown here to imitate the actual rib cage, as the empty part between the two volumes is important. Alright, a bit confusing here, I won't lie. Because, okay, this teaches, I guess, just... Yeah, you know what? Yeah, it's fine, it's fine. I just want to draw some simple mannequins, no not necessarily any detailed anatomy or nothing, so this is fine for now. That's the rib cage there. Right. I think this person's leaning a little bit, but it's fine. We'll stick with it. Okay, belly button on Mark 3. Okay. Yeah, that seems about right. And then apparently this is the nipple placement. Don't know how useful that is to know. But wait, is that on Mark 2? Yeah, on Mark 2. Don't know if that's actual useful information or not. The shoulders. Shoulder line is halfway between marks 1 and 2. Yeah, so in line with the top of the rib cage, as I said. With the shoulder width, 2 to 3 head widths. Okay. To begin with, it's slightly curved down, but in tension, the shoulders tense up and the curve can itself turn up and look higher. Yeah, so in terms of the width, yeah, so it said 2 to 3 head widths. Yeah, okay, so I guess that's variable depending on what kind of character you have. Um, but yeah, so I guess that's like a range you can have 2 to 3 head widths, and it should look not out of place. So we'll do 2, okay? Do 2 head widths, right? I mean, usually you just kind of try to eyeball it probably. Build up your muscle memory and just your judgment. The arms, the wrists, and the hands. It looks like the elbows fall on Mark 3. The elbows are a slightly complicated joint that we'll examine in detail later, but for now it's helpful to mark them in your anatomy drawing as elongated ovals on level 3. Yeah, as I said, not trying to do any complicated anatomy or anything right now, just simple proportions. That's what I want to go over. Yeah, I remember hearing that they are in line with the belly button, so that that lines up. Then wrists on Mark 4. The fingers end roughly at mid-thigh, which is Mark 5. Really, so the entire hand spans from 4 to 5. Okay, so wrists and then end of the hand. So let me just right shoulder, boom, forearm. I don't know. I don't really know what you would. This feels awkward. I won't lie. I'm guessing in between like the elbows where you'd have the change between forearm and what do you call this? This is the forearm. What is this? I don't know. The upper arm. Is there another word for it? There should be. Because I don't want to say upper arm. That looks like a long hand. It might just be my measurements. Yeah, it's now that I look now that I look at it. Um Between this line and this line is a fair bit longer than between this line and this line. So, yeah, my measurements are messed up. That is my fault. If you do this, try to get your measurements right. Um, it's fine. I'll do this again. You just gotta, oh, what is going on? You just gotta practice this stuff. That's the whole point. You learn it and then you practice it. The wrists are Mark 4, Mark 5. Okay, cool. Right, drawing the body in profile. This is something that I actually definitely definitely need to go over myself because I'm not too confident with it personally. So I will need to go over it. I'm gonna go over this now, but I will want to go over it in even more detail because the body does look very, very different from that angle. So, measurements are obviously the same here. Sorry, my microphone and headphones just turned off. That is an unforeseen problem that, yeah, see, this is why you have test streams. I'm gonna have to fix that for the next stream. Um, Let me check to make sure the audio is working properly. Looks like it's fine. Alright, so this is the same. And pointing diagonally down, drop a vertical line from the crown to. This is not as important. But okay, let's try this again. 1, 2, 3. Oh, man. I haven't drawn in a couple, like a week or two. I won't lie. It would have been good for me to do some warm-ups, but you know what? Dots are easier. Yeah, the dots are easier. Let me just do dots instead of lines. I don't have to worry about getting them straight. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, head right there. And then, boom. 2. Well, that's 1, 2, 3, and 4 right there. And then rib cage would be like that, but chopped off as we said. I'll come back to that. The knee on 6. The spine in profile. From the side, the spine is revealed as being shaped like a flattened S. From the base of the skull, it moves down and back until it reaches the furthest point at the level of the shoulders. Yeah. Note the shoulder joints are ahead of the spine. Yes, they are. This is because, again, the shoulder line is in reality an arc. Yeah, that is true. Yeah, there's the shoulder line from the top. It arcs like that. That is something I'm planning to go over in later streams, anatomy streams. The spine then comes back forward and peaks again inward. A little above the pelvis, the small of the back, which varies, finally changes direction again briefly and ends at the coccyx or tailbone. So yeah, flattened S. It's kind of like a backwards S. Well, if you're drawing it from this side, if the figure was facing the other way, it would be just a regular S. So yeah, furthest point around the shoulder line. There, and then where is the tailbone? This area is the one is out of gravity. Right, so the top, got like the top of the hips or whatever. I think so. The pelvis. So like that. Rib cage and legs. That's pretty simple. They the rib cage angles with the spine, which makes sense. It's just drawn like an oval here. Nothing fancy. There we go. Make the head a bit smaller. And then the legs, yeah. Yeah, they curve forward like that at the front. And then backwards like that. Again, like S shape, we're just kind of doing the opposite of the spine, really. It's all like counterbalancing, really. I think that kind of helps us stand up straight, being kind of counterbalanced. So like that. There's the foot. And then that's the nipple line, as they said earlier. Again, I don't know if that's useful. Finally, the arms of the body. Yeah, as we said before, elbow on 3, wrist on 4. In line with the belly button there. The arms, the upper arm falls fairly straight from the shoulder, so the elbow can be aligned with the latter or slightly backwards. But the arm is never fully stretched when at rest, so the forearm is not vertical. The arm is slightly bent and the wrist falls forwards right over the hip bone. Also, when the hand is relaxed, the fingers curl a little, as shown here. Makes sense. So, shoulder. Shoulder's just in line with like the middle of the head, I guess. And then elbow. Boom. And then forearm, wrist, and hand. I don't know. I'll just draw it like that for now. It's not the clearest drawing, but I'm sure you guys can follow along. So that's the summary. Right. I saw these. These might be useful for just generally double checking quickly if it's a pose that if it's a pose in which you can't necessarily check you know, the length of the entire body. So elbows to fingertips is equal to to from knee to heel. Shoulder to buttock is equal to shoulder to palm. Right, so just kind of torso is equal to both halves of the legs, basically. So basically, the legs are twice as long as the torso. So you split it into thirds, really? Right. Got 1/3, 2/3, 3/3. Right. And then you've got the head. Where the hand reaches if you try to touch the shoulder. Um, this might be useful for just general poses. I don't know if I'd ever actually use that fact to double check my proportions. Arm stretched is equal, no, arm stretched, forearm, wrist to elbow is equal to foot. That one is probably good to make sure your feet aren't too big. Armband, I mean, obviously people have different size feet, but I guess get used to drawing standardized proportions first, and then worry about that later. Arm bent, forearm looks shorter, equal to the length of the hand. Yeah, yeah, that's something I don't really consider usually, but that's a good thing to know. I guess it's just because of the way the flesh is folding right there that it looks shorter. Oh, we've got some tips on practicing. For instance, you can integrate this knowledge into your daily human body sketch practice by overlaying a quick energy sketch with this correctly proportioned basic figure. So I think they're saying basically just draw figures and afterwards check the proportions to see what's wrong and try to correct that next time and keep doing it until you get it right. So you can get a feel for drawing figure drawings with correct proportions all the time. When I'm drawing a body, I consistently start with the head, but it doesn't really matter what part you start with when drawing bodies as long as you're comfortable and get a good result. I always start with the head as well. I'm not sure why. I feel like it kind of maybe guides the action, you know? Like I feel like where the person is looking kind of guides their action. Also, it's the very top of the body, so I just go from the very top and end at the very bottom, which makes sense, I guess. Alright, there we go. Now, time to get some practice in, I guess. So, do I start with different poses? Okay, I'll try to do what they recommended first. I'll try it out. I'll do just a figure drawing and I'll double check my proportions after I finish it. I do have that one there for reference. That's kind of cheating. Let me move that out of the way. What pose do I do? Let's not do one that's too complicated to start off with. What am I doing? Alright. Oh, probably start with the spine like that. Maybe. I heard someone say that the rib cage should be 1.5 times the size of the head. Um, I think that's accurate. Not, I haven't fact checked it. Do one leg like that. Knee. and then foot. If you're watching, you can do your own practice. Try this out. See how you do. Right, so obviously, right, this leg is bent, but I just based the length of the upper leg here based on the length of the lower leg here, since they are roughly equal, as we just learned. What do I do with the arms? I'll put one arm like back here. Maybe. I feel like that's a bit too far back. And then hand. I'm just gonna draw a rectangle for now. And I'll put one hand, one arm like there. There we go. There's our figure. So we got 1, 2. Halfway between there would be the shoulders. Hold on. Let's do that. Yeah, that's. I don't know why I didn't do that from the start. Right, 2, and then 3, 4, something like that. Hmm. Right, that's. Oh, bro, I cannot get these measurements right. Okay, will zooming out help? Kind of, maybe, maybe not. Man, this isn't easy. I won't lie. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. Mm, yeah, my measurements aren't great, but It looks like I made the rib cage too long, I think. That is something I always do, I make it too long. I'm gonna double check this rib cage guide they gave, because I'm not quite sure how realistic it is. Um, with the arms, there might be a uh, maybe a little bit short, but it's hard to tell. Okay, so this spans two, and this, okay. The pelvis, I drew it a bit too low down. Right, so that was the problem. The rib cage was too long, and the pelvis was too low down. So I think the space between them was fine, but I made the rib cage too long, which caused the pelvis to go down lower. Um, and then, right, that was, leg was supposed to start there. Whoops. Leg was supposed to start at the bottom. I forgot. So upper leg is a bit too long, which means so is that. Although, actually, one, two, that one's fine, I think. But yeah, that upper leg should have, the knee should have been there. And then one, two, hold on. Wait, no. What am I doing? Wait, hold on. No, 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 no. I got it the wrong way around. Wait a second. Knee should have been down there. Upper leg is too short. My bad. And then, whoa, that is off by a lot. Okay. Now this one's hard to judge, but I think is too short. And then, the foot should have been down lower as well. So I think that's more correct. According to this guide. Something like that. Obviously, you don't have to get the measurements exact because, no human being is built exactly 8 heads tall. We all have different genetics, so okay. How long have I been streaming? 46 minutes. That flew by. Wow. Right, I'm thinking. I don't know what would be a good way, if there would be a way to kind of use this to guide your figure drawings. If I do it like that, go 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That looks weird. This reminds me of drawing insect bodies with all the little segments they have. Okay, so it was between there and there? Wait, that doesn't. Ah, doesn't make sense. Wait, so no. The rib cage would start about there and end about there. That's a long neck, though, is it not? I don't know. And then that's the pelvis, leg. Okay. I think the best way to apply this is to just check everything you draw in comparison to the head. So keep looking back and forth between every part that you draw and compare it to the length of the head. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, okay. I figured it out. So that's just gonna help you when you're drawing to get your proportions right. Okay, yeah. That's useful. That's something I'm definitely gonna need to start doing when I'm drawing something. Because you get used to it when you're drawing like a portrait or something, anything from reference. Like when I'm drawing from reference, I look like I draw the head and then I look at okay, uh like how far down are the shoulders, probably in relation to the head, probably that much, and then you got the shoulder goes probably like the same length of the head, and then you know, I'm just making stuff up right now, but when I when I draw from reference, I kind of just do this instinctively, just compare lengths of different parts, right? When you're drawing a face, you would draw the eyebrow, and then you would look at it and say, okay, this is the eye corresponds to like this amount of the eyebrow in length. That's a weird looking eye. Can't lie. That's better. Well, that's still weird looking. Ah, I'm not supposed to be drawing eyes. I'm getting sidetracked. Okay, random eye there. It's fine. So, I'm drawing the eyebrow. What am I doing? I'm compelled to draw the eyebrow. It's not even how eyebrows look. Whatever. Um, yeah. Okay. I have definitely learned something from this. I'm hoping you've learned something as well if you're watching. Nobody may even ever watch this apart from that one viewer. Um, I don't know. We'll see. I think that's probably where I'm gonna leave it for this stream. Fairly short one to start with. And I'll try to get some stuff set up for the next one. Um, I'll probably do some practice with these proportions and probably do some just regular figure drawing from reference. Um, and then I'll probably look in more detail at the body from the side profile. Yeah, that's the plan for the next stream. I want to cover a bunch of different topics. I kind of have like a hierarchy right now. I want to go finish covering figure drawing and just drawing like basic mannequins so that, you know, just building the skill of drawing basic just poses, different poses and with accurate proportions. That's important. And then after that I want to cover probably faces and heads specifically. Those are quite central. Like you don't necessarily need anatomy knowledge in the beginning if you just, you cover everyone up with clothes and you're fine for the most part. But drawing a good face and head with no reference is something I definitely want to go over. It's not easy. It's not an easy thing. So that would probably be the next thing. And then I would probably go over hmm, what did I say I was gonna go over? Was it lighting? It might have been lighting. And then after that, it would be general anatomy, just like torso anatomy, legs, arms, all that stuff. And then perspective. I can't remember right now if there's anything else that I'm forgetting, but those are the main topics that I want to cover in these live streams. So I guess that will be it for today. Um, if anyone watched this, thanks for watching.